we have here.
Visit them online at stonesrivermanor.com or stop by. They're near the intersection of Haynes Drive and Memorial Boulevard.
Plaques. L&K Trophy has plaques. We have a wide assortment of plaques, lots of options in crystal, optic crystal. We sand carve on premises. We offer laser engraving on everything from acrylic.
The Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and online at WGNSradio.com. Portions of our programming have been pre-recorded. The Good Neighbor Network, WGNS, Murfreesboro, Smyrna. Flagship station for MTSU Sports. Now an update from the WGNSradio.com News Center.
I'm Ron Jordan. A Rutherford County stable owner already locked up and accused of sex crimes is now in even more trouble. 51-year-old Jason Lancaster faces more than a dozen additional rape charges. In a separate case, is accused of animal cruelty. Lancaster is accused of paying a victim $1,000 as a down payment to keep quiet. He allegedly warned her not to speak to anybody about their contact while showing up at her new place of employment. A group of Good Samaritans have quietly worked behind the scenes for several years to provide food to those who need it through what are called blessing boxes.
Blessing box houses food, hygiene items, stuff like that, that'll help any kind of family in need.
That's Sarah Carroll. She volunteers to oversee the blessing boxes of Rutherford County. One of the unique aspects of a blessing box is that individuals can pick up food at any hour, which is especially helpful for somebody working on a late-night shift to make ends meet. There are about 30 boxes. Some of the boxes are in front of schools and churches, while others are next to nonprofits and even some commercial buildings. Some Tennessee parents and educators are pushing back against state leaders who are considering rejecting nearly $2 billion in federal education funds annually. Some Republicans believe the state should reject the money because of the federal requirements that come with it. On the other side of the argument, some educators say the money is crucial for low-income households and students with disabilities. Socialize with us on social media. Head over to facebook.com/WGNS Radio. Follow us on X at WGNS Radio. And, of course, don't forget our website, WGNSradio.com. I'm Ron Jordan reporting.
Are you concerned with the state of America, your state, and your community? Then you're in the right place. This is the Rutherford Magazine Show with host Mike Sparks. He and guests are here to talk local politics, history, faith, and freedom.
You listen to Rutherford Magazine Show. I'm your host, Mike Sparks. I've got a few guests in the house, and got one special guest. I gave him like a 2-week notice, and he arrived before I did. Dr. Brian Terry, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
All right, I've got some Republican women talking about their upcoming event. Y'all, ladies, go ahead and introduce yourself, because I know I get you mixed up with your names. Go ahead.
I'm Marzie Woodward. I am the secretary for the Republican Women of Rutherford County.
And I'm Marcia Jones, a member.
Well, thank y'all for coming up. Now, you've got a big event y'all been working hard on for next month, right?
Right, December 7th with Dr. Carol Swain.
Yes, and that's at Carriage House, right?
Carriage Lane Inn, yeah. Yes, sir. And it's you can go to www.rwrc.us and buy your tickets there. But Dr. Carol Swain is a national speaker, and we're having her for our Christmas celebration, and we've got some Christmas music's going to be played by a guitarist, and photographs and all kinds of things, and good food. They always do a good job at Carriage Lane.
They do. My son and his wife Morgan were married over there. Great great place. In fact, they got snowed out that day. The wedding did. Yeah, we had to send the 4-wheel drive over, and then the 4-wheel drive dually, I think he ended up having a crash or something. It was even though it was a great day for him and his wife, it wasn't a bad day for the driver of that 4-wheel drive dually. Brian, how you been doing?
I've been doing well. Yeah, I appreciate you calling and asking me. I was over at Cannonsburg shooting some family photos and getting my allergies all worked up, and and then got the phone call and I'm here. Yeah,
I've got a few people on standby. Austin Maxwell, you, Mark Lewis, and my pastor Shelby Hazard, and Jeremy Smith's in here, our faithful intern that are right there on standby. Well, I know you see Dr. Swain a lot, with Fox News and others. She's kind of become a big celebrity. So she got her own show on Newsmax?
No, but they interview her a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And, she was with Vanderbilt. She's in political science. She's got a lot of books. She's got a new one that's come out, and so she's bringing her books, and she's going to have those available for sale that night, but she's going to be talking. It's going to start at 6 o'clock, and we should be finished around 7:30 or so. If you get there a little early, we start dinner a little early. They always do with Carriage Lane so that we can get through the line and stuff, but we're really excited about having her since she's such a national speaker.
So I see one of her books is Black Eye for America, How Critical Race Theory is Burning Down the House.
Right.
I guess she catches a lot of heat, doesn't she?
I would imagine so, because
she's African American and
talking about different things. I know my husband is a big fan of hers, and he is working on one of her books. I think it's We the People or something to that.
Be the People, a call to reclaim America.
Yes.
America's faith and promise.
Right. Yes. And so he's been reading through that book and stuff, and he has seen her quite often on television, and he says, and I believe she ran for mayor of Nashville. Was that correct? Yeah. And so I think she gets some things said that are not appropriate because she has a different viewpoint than most people.
Well, you got to stay in. You got to walk like everybody else and talk like everybody else. If you're not, you'll be considered radical or outspoken.
Especially if you're an African American.
Oh yeah,
you see that
I admire
a lot.
I had somebody come up to me the other day, and I won't say the person's name. It was one of my former interns from MTSU, and we're pretty close. I kind of consider one of my adopted daughter because I don't have daughters, and she come by and she said her boyfriend was, really likes Trump. And remember, they're African American, and she said she never really liked Donald Trump. And then she come by and she goes, "Boy, I don't know about this Biden guy." She says, "Man, I ain't vote for him." And she gets me so tickled. She wants to do her own podcast, her own show, but since she works at the General Assembly, I even thought about maybe Brian could help me to go to the speaker and say, "Hey, she's going to do her own show, her own podcast. Are you cool with this?" And she's a little nervous to do it, but she gets me so tickled. She's a very intelligent young lady, and some of the mannerisms, some of the things she'll say, I'm like, man, if I could just capture this and share it on the radio, people not only, but it's a lot of truth. I mean, about, whether it's affordable housing or the way the economy is, and is the future bright for some of these young people? A lot of them say it's not,
Right. Well, it's very unfortunate, I think, because African Americans have been expected to stay on the Democrat plantation for the last 60 or plus years.
Yeah.
And when they step out of that, they take more grief than even MAGA supporters.
Yes, I agree.
And so it is a bold move.
I've seen my former assistant, sharp young man, and I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this on radio, but when I first met him, he just texted me asking for advice, and I hardly knew him. Usually we'll have an intern or two, and a lot of times it leads to a job, and most of the students are really good, but he just texted me asking for advice. I called it a God thing because I said, just come in and hang out with me for the day. Come to a Rotary Club. I've got a radio show, and I said, come on up and hang out with me. And I only met him a couple of times up there, but he come over to play chess with my current intern at the time, So, and he was a pretty good little chess player. And I told him, because they literally had some fake news on me. I mean, literally, the media. And I was telling them, I said, well, you're from Memphis. I said, guess you knew about me in the media. He goes, no. And I started telling him about, the first African-American lawmakers from this area, from old Jefferson. He was Republican. And he says, and he's a smart, independent thinker. He says, sometimes I think people don't want us to know these things. And I thought, bingo. And so later he asked me for advice. Says, man, just tag along with me, And he gets up here at the station. I remember exactly where he was standing. He was standing by that copier machine. And I seen him open up a newspaper. And he wasn't showing it to me. He was showing it to Marty Loveman and Jenny Williams, who was, remember this been 4.5 years ago. And I looked at the front of the paper. I'm like, what's this? It was him on the front of the paper, TSU newspaper. And it said, why I voted for Donald Trump.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh, my gosh, you voted for Donald Trump? And he was like, yes, well, how much persecution did you face? He says, well, I faced none. He said, I just explained my position. And he's such a loving, everybody, he's so charismatic. And I was telling somebody here recently, I said, in 20 years, he's going to be a judge. Yeah, Marvin.
Yeah, Marvin's a good dude.
He really is. And he'd probably die if he knew I'm talking about on the radio. I don't think Brentwood or Franklin picks up this station. I've had a couple of calls from Brentwood though after a show one night, but just a smart guy. And what I've always told him, and even my own sons, I said, think for yourself. Just because I say it, or I think this, or I'm a Baptist, I'm religious, you be your own person. And sometimes I kind of wish they're just so independent. I wish they would follow in my footsteps a little bit, but they're their own man.
Now you said something. I want to get your opinion on this. This was an article I saw this past week, and you talked about they had fake news on you, and I had a discussion with somebody who was at a dinner this week, and I told them whatever you see in the news, don't necessarily believe what they're saying. And this article said 1/3 of U.S. newspapers as of 2005 will be gone by 2024.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And, WGNS does a great job, getting information out and particularly local news. But I think, nowadays with so much, like I said, fake news and it's a lot of it's opinion, or whatever narrative,
driven.
whatever narrative they want to push. It's not necessarily the truth. This is last month I got interviewed by NPR, and the guy that was doing that, he's just trying to do bipartisan stories on legislators that have nothing to do with actual politics. He just wanted to, hear from folks. And I told him, I said, that's a niche, that trying to get out real stories with actual people and not push some agenda. There's a need for that, and you're seeing it. And I guess you got some classes that you're taking. But I just want to get your opinion on stuff like that.
Well, I've become fond of Mark Twain. I mean, if you go study this guy, he was an interesting guy. I really wasn't interested in Mark Twain until I started taking communication classes at MTSU. But I've always liked this quote that he said. He says, if you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you read the newspaper, you're misinformed. But, that guy had so much wisdom.
Think about how long ago that was.
Yes, he really did. And there's another quote. In fact, I shared it with somebody today. I can't never pronounce the word. It's like, he said, a person has never felt pain until they've been, is it pilloried in the newspaper? Pilloried.
Yeah.
Does anybody ever use that anymore?
It's very old.
Okay, pilloried.
It's a very old word. Yeah.
Okay, pilloried. And I think there's a lot of truth in that, because I remember I don't think Pat Marsh reminded me sharing this on the radio, but when I was asked to run for office, the first time I prayed about it and didn't feel it was my time, so I didn't run. Well, I ran for county commission instead, but I took Pat to lunch, and Pat's a great guy, and we met over here at Church Street McDonald's right across the road here, and I said, well, Representative, would you run for office again? And he says, oh, no. I was like, what? He goes, no. I said, why? And he says, man, I'd pick up the newspaper and wonder what they're saying about me today. And I think his stuff has died down over there. It was very partisan in Shelbyville area and that district. But one thing I will say is sometimes I'm critical of the media, but we need the media. I mean, we need the Dave Goals of the world. We need the Scott Brones of the world, the Dan Eprights. I think they're getting better. At least I think the Main Street media, Murfreesboro Post, has been a lot better than they were the past few years. But now when you see Phil Williams of Channel 5 walking up the halls at the state capitol, it's like, it ain't good. This ain't some good news. It's like, what great job the Republican Party's doing. No, he's not going to talk about that. They don't beat up on you too much.
No, they've taken it pretty easy on me, but I don't try to make myself
Are you bringing
a target.
up marijuana any?
I may have a bill this year.
Okay. They probably love you for that. You know what I mean? Our producers, most of us, take a quick break, folks. Let's take a quick break. We'll come right back talking about marijuana with Dr. Brian Terry.
Most people know that their insurance can provide them with coverage for the many life's mishaps. But I can help you also unlock discounts, save money, and get benefits with Farmers Insurance policy perks. Whether we're discussing home or auto insurance, I am here to help you understand these great perks. Call me, Mark Lewis, at 615-625-7070 for a quote, and you can get a whole lot of something with Farmers policy perks.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Not available in every state. Only available at select Farmers branded policies underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliates.
Dr. Automotive Auto Repair and Maintenance Mechanic Shop Garage provides car owners in Smyrna, Murfreesboro, Laverne, and the Middle Tennessee area with excellent auto repair services. Deep-rooted experience in serving both foreign and domestic automobiles allows for proper diagnosis in a timely manner. Check them out online at autorepairsmyrna.com, call them at 615-220-0971, or stop on in at 1205 Hazelwood Drive in Smyrna.
AFFI is Middle Tennessee's premier choice for pest, wildlife, and moisture control. They specialize in those difficult and unique cases. You can reach them by phone at 615-300-2395. That's 615-300-2395. Or stop in at 200 Glenrose Lane in Smyrna.
This is Allie Dowenhauer with Isaiah 117 House. Isaiah 117 House provides physical and emotional support for children awaiting foster care placement here in Rutherford County. We are changing the way foster care begins, and those kiddos are brought to our house to hang out and wait for a foster family, and they're given everything they need. We support foster children, DCS, and foster families here in Rutherford County. Visit us at www.isaiah117house.com or visit our Facebook page, Isaiah 117 House, Rutherford County.
All right, we're back. Rutherford Magazine Show. I'm your host, Mike Sparks. I'm talking Republican women and outreach. And what we were talking at break, go ahead and pick up. I was asking what's the Republican Party doing to reach minorities and more, I guess more females.
Well, right now we try very hard within the Republican Women of Rutherford County. Our mission is to educate our membership and the community. We do a lot of different programs that we do in order to educate our community. We've had some great speakers like Senator Marsha Blackburn, Commissioner Brad Turner of the Tennessee Department of Intellectual and Developmental Disability, Pamela Furr, who's a radio talk show host. She was really good. Tennessee Secretary of State Trey Hargett, Don Barnett from the Center of Immigration Studies. I don't know, Aaron.
Scott Desjardins.
Scott Desjardins.
I know that guy, Tracy Binkley.
Yes, he came.
He's a good guy.
He talked about ESG.
That was a good.
How ESG affects our money and stuff. And then we had Michael Patrick Leahy just recently, and he was really
Fantastic.
good. He was
Tennessee
really
Star.
good from the Tennessee Star.
Is he still doing 1510?
No.
He's with
WTN.
Yeah.
He just
Really?
signed on with WTN.
Okay.
Yeah, so 97.9.
I think he's going to be on in the morning with Dan Mandis.
Yes,
Oh, he is?
that's who he's
Okay.
going to be with.
Okay.
And so we try to educate, and then we're working, and we're going to work even harder this next year about helping elect Republicans. We want to make sure we get Republicans in office, work actively in the community in a variety of ways, and then train women in leadership roles. So we have lots of different committees. We have lots of different officer roles, and so we're trying to find ways to get women involved in the community and in politics.
Yes.
I mean, I think that, talk about minority, me being Native American, and how do you get outreach into that? With the last administration, you had the lowest unemployment rate, of different demographics. And then, now with the Biden administration, have, people just can't keep up with the inflation and the cost. And, I think, pretty much everybody goes and gets groceries, and by goodness, you can
take out a loan.
Yeah, I mean, they said that the vehicle, the most expensive vehicle to operate right now is a shopping cart. So
that's a good one.
That is a good one.
So that's I think that people are seeing the failures of the Biden administration and what's going on, and I think that will drive more people towards more conservative values.
Yes, no doubt.
Well, we're wanting to get more women involved. We went to state conference and we got a award because we had increased our membership 28% this last year, which was a big deal, and so we received an award for that because of getting more women involved in our organization, and so we want to continue to do that. So anyone
and how
who's
much
interested,
of an increase?
28%.
Good for
And
y'all.
yeah, and so we're on Facebook and at that website www.rwrc.us. You can go in and find out about the speakers we've had. You can go in and learn about how to become a member, past newsletters. There's all kinds of information on
Did y'all
there.
see that? Did y'all see when Biden made the comment about that Chinese leader, President Xi?
Yeah.
And what's his name? Anthony Blinken's reaction. He called dictator.
Oh my goodness,
man! I'm like, oh my
just
gosh.
A while ago, he was about to pass out. I
You know what we say in the South, don't you? Bless your heart.
Bless your. I say bless. Bless.
It's like, golly.
That was really apparent.
But I mean, that's a big increase.
Yeah, I
over
think,
a 1/4%.
I think we did a great job of trying to get people in, and because people are interested, they want to know because of what has been happening in the changes in the White House, what they can do to get involved in the community and get. Be a part of this local, state, and national level.
Yes.
Well, and that's, as an elected official, they ask you, what was your get off the couch moment? And a lot of people, their get off the couch moment may not be to run for office, but how do I get involved? I see, you see things that aren't to your liking out there, whether it's, something, the border or, education or call it, inflation or whatever. How do I get involved so that I can ensure that that my kids, my grandkids don't have to deal with this? And that's a great way to get people out there.
For me, it actually happened. Well, I was raised in a family with a father who was very politically interested and kept that conversation going always. So it was not uncommon for me to be interested in politics. But when I started having friends that had joined Republican Women in St. Come, and this is back when we were still down, next to City Cafe.
Yeah, at headquarters.
And we didn't have any room eventually.
Yeah, we were down
there.
We had 10 members at that time, and now we've grown.
I think a lot of it, like you said, is I think there's like a fear factor, or just that people are shy or not sure how to get over. And once you get involved and see, hey, it's.
All the people that I already knew there. That was, and then when we got bigger and moved over to Carriage Lane, that, I don't know, it felt real. It really felt real, and it kind of lit a fire under a lot of us, and we feel like we've got to do something. We can't keep.
Yes.
Because we talk about things come up. Something had happened at MTSU recently, and they were saying, Michael Patrick Leahy was saying, this is what you can do in order to, speak your mind. This is who we need to call, or this is what we need to do. And so it was a very effective we hear about those kinds of things, who to talk to, what you need to do, and say something about. If you want to be heard, you got to speak.
Well, I had something interesting happen in one of my communication classes. I've shared my faith in there, and it's a little awkward because my professor is a TikTok-like celebrity. I mean, seriously, it's a little awkward. Okay, Brian's giving me this look, but it's a digital media class. I mean, a lot of things happen in digital media, whether it's TikTok or YouTube. But see, we voted as General Assembly to cut, that they higher ed can't use state resources. So it's a little awkward. But I had a student question me, and I was really proud of this young man. He says, well, why are you telling him he could talk about TikTok if you voted no? I said, there's a thing called the First Amendment. He could talk about TikTok. He could share, his experience. You just can't use the state Wi-Fi or the state computer. And I brought up the First Amendment. I said, I'm a Christian. I said, I'm going to talk about my faith. I said, if people don't like it, I don't care. It's going to take a bullet to shut me down. And apparently a couple students must have liked what I said. And I had a student come up to me the other day, because this is a different generation, man.
Oh, yeah.
I asked him the other day, I said, how many of y'all you watch television, news? And Jeremy, I don't know if Jeremy back here wants to raise his hand, but you know how many hands went up? None. Zero. I said, where you get your news at? And I'm not making this up, Dr. Terry. You know what they said? SpongeBob SquarePants. I was like, do what now? And it's a cartoon. Have you heard about it? It's a little cartoon. It comes up, and a lot of them started laughing and smiling. But it's like breaking news.
We had Schoolhouse Rock.
But I know. At least it's educational. But that's what they do. And one of the little students, she come over and showed me the video. And it's like it's a cartoon that pops up, and that's how they get their news, with whether it's YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. And it's the brightest young student. She's from Nepal, and really sharp. And I was asking her. I said, well, she come up. She said, just want to let you know, I'm studying Christianity. And I thought, because I'm assuming she's Hindu because she's from Nepal. I mean, I would assume. And my instructor, who I'm assuming is Hindu, or has a Hindu background. And then I asked her. I said, what sets you apart? I said, because I noticed you're outgoing. You're talkative. You're very energetic. And Brian, she put a video together today. If I'm not mistaken, it had like 4 or 5 million hits in like a week. Wow. I mean, it was something to do with eyelashes or something. And it's the craziest thing. Yeah, she is. And but here's what her answer was about why are you so, you're outgoing. She said, I went through the Dale Carnegie program. And here's what's weird. I just wrote an article about lack of leadership today, because I see a lot of narcissism, egos, and I think it's off the charts today. But I tied in Dr. David Urban in an event we put together, and he took the Dale Carnegie approach. At Dale Carnegie, that's something we need to look at for next session, Brian. Even Gabriel Fancher mentioned it about Rockville School, because we're seeing behavior of these kids off
we're retired teachers.
We're both teachers.
I didn't know that.
We're retired teachers, both of us.
I taught in the city for 40 years.
Good for you, really.
And I taught pre-K, then first grade in the county, and then MTSU for 15 years, training early childhood majors how to teach young children.
Well, I talked to the school superintendent today about, what do we, as far as retaining, recruiting good teachers, and it's very alarming. Like Brian sees it in lack of nurses.
It's very hard to do.
It really is. Did you see where the two teachers, the teacher and the assistant principal were being prosecuted? They were fired.
They were arrested.
I called the guy the day
for paddling.
Yeah. Did you see that, Brian?
Oh yeah, I did see something about that. But I was just going to bring something up. You said you saw narcissism, talking about social media, and there was an article that bring to everybody's attention. It actually kind of hit home, and it was called the Cluster B Society. And Cluster B, there's different personality disorders, Cluster A, B, and C. And Cluster B is has narcissistic personality disorder, antisocial, histrionic, and borderline. And you see that with the interactions that people have on social media.
Yes.
I mean, you see a lot of people that are very antisocial, the trolls that are out there. You see a lot of the narcissists, like the people on the planes that say, I'm TikTok famous or whatever, and it's like nobody knows who you are.
On?
And then then you have the histrionic where people get all worked up over something that's really not that big of a deal.
Right.
But it drives people into this mindset and mental health issues, and so that's what you're getting from that.
Of mental health
and so
crisis.
but it's an article out there about the Cluster B Society, and it's very fascinating. And it
Cluster B Society.
Cluster B, and so like I said, the Cluster B is the there's A, B, and C personality disorders, and and that you can see that's where society's being driven.
Well, one thing I'll compliment Dr. Terry is that he's always approachable. You know, I don't think we've ever had disagreement on anything, you know, that I know of.
No,
I'm trying to think of something, you know what I mean? We got to find something.
Probably cars or something.
No, you did challenge me one time. What was it? Something about taking parts off a car.
Yeah, we need to have a fundraiser where we get somebody and take some parts off of cars or something.
Yeah, because I love being I love being junkyard. And your family owned a junkyard.
Yeah, we're third generation auto salvage, and that's we ought to see how fast we can take parts off of cars or something like that.
Hey, speaking of car, Oklahoma, did you see where that guy? He had the same name as me. There's 4 guys, I guess, going to rob a junkyard owner, and maybe he heard about it beforehand, and man, he killed every one of them guys and chopped their bodies up, and one of them's got my name.
Oh no!
Yeah, seriously, it's Oklahoma. It's from where my dad's from, Okmulgee.
Okmulgee, oh wow!
What's the odds of that?
Did he get put in jail?
I guess he's in jail now, but I think that he was going to rob those 4 guys was going to rob this one guy, and I guess
they couldn't count that as self-defense. I guess.
Maybe. I'm sure you can argue that.
Yeah, the chopping part.
Trying to get rid of some evidence. But I wanted to go back and visit my Okmulgee, Oklahoma, my dad's from, but I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to go back over there with a bunch of killings out there. You know what I mean?
It's everywhere.
Especially my same name out there. You know?
I don't know. Well, it's like Brian Terry. That was the Border Patrol when on the what did Obama have the Fast and Furious where he gave the guns.
Yes.
And the agent that got killed, his name was Brian Terry.
Yeah.
Oh. So to hear your name on national news,
you're like, what did I do?
That is kind of odd. Kind of odd, you know. Well, that's very honorable for y'all to increase 28% in 1 year.
Well, we also just went to state conference, myself and another lady, and that's where we got the award and such. But we heard some great speakers like Congressman Mark Green, and he is so patriotic.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, he was part of the capture and interrogation of Saddam Hussein, and I liked what he said. Our fight is not in Washington, but it's with Washington.
Yeah.
And I think that that really struck home with a lot of us.
Look at what happened. I mean, in my column I wrote, if in fact you go to issuesoffaith.com, it should be my main article about, I think I titled it leadership lapses. You see where Tim Burchett claims he got elbowed by McCarthy.
I heard about that. Yeah.
It was a big
And then
deal
Bernie
last
Sanders
week.
had to be the referee over that other. How do you say his name?
I don't know.
He's
he was
from
like a senator from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
He's like an MMA fighter or something.
I didn't
Gonna
realize
fight
that.
the
Tom
union boss.
Coburn was the senator, I think, when I was there. Tom Coburn was pretty much an idol of mine. He was a congressman, then he was the senator at Oklahoma. They just don't make him like him anymore. But I saw them.
But I mean, I'm like this. You can't make. If this was a pitch for a movie, like, oh, that's too crazy. Nobody believes it. Because even in film, the few film class I've ever had, there has to be an element of belief, you know, or it becomes like a cartoon. But I mean, what's the odds? You think, Brian? You think McCarthy really hit him?
If Burchett says he did, I'd believe
I believe
Burchett.
Burchett's a great guy,
good,
man.
Good dude. I believe
Have y'all had
Burchett's.
Burchett come in?
No, we have
No,
not.
we haven't. But I heard him interviewed several times about this week. And
He's as real as
he was
he is.
very sincere.
He's down to earth, and
he's
and I know
he will tell you like it is.
Yes.
Kevin's probably very angry at him being one of the 8 that voted to get him out, and I wouldn't at all be surprised if he didn't throw an elbow.
Yeah.
But
It was close, and he was being interviewed by NPR also.
But he's always in his Carhartt jacket, so it probably didn't even phase him at all. It probably didn't even go through all the padding that he wanted.
Did you see what he told McCarthy? He said, "You need a security detail." I got a kick out of that.
$18 million in a security
detail. Well, I kind of admire him. I mean, whatever side of the fence you're on UFOs, I admire him for at least asking for, hey, let's go look at Area 51 and look at all this.
Well, that is an interesting topic. I mean, when we went out west, just one of our travels, my husband and I have a fifth wheel, and we like to go all over the United States with it. And that was one of the areas that I was like, we need to go, but we didn't. But it's a large area, but it's just one that you're interested in. Yeah. What actually goes on down there?
And I also think that there's so little trust in government today, especially at the national level, that, we always say all government's local, but when we take a look at what's going on and what's been told to us over the years, it's very easy to think there's a lot of things being hidden.
Well, people have to have a discussion. One thing I'll applaud Brian for is that, we had a little hiccup over the third grade retention last year. And Brian, he put an event together, invited the commissioner to come in, invited Murfreesboro City School Board and Rutherford County School Board, and had her out here and at least listen and talk to teachers. And I've heard more good about it than bad, because I've said this in education committee, that I've always heard there's the Texas prison bed model that's based on third grade reading. You ever heard that? Mm-hmm. And that's how they would do their forecasting models on prison beds. And it's so sad that there may be, because I've heard some people, I said it in committee, I've seen people nod, like that. And nobody really wants to say it. Mm-hmm. But, if a child can't read and write and get an education, what are they going to do? Because you've got to read and write with about everything.
To get by. Yeah.
I taught kindergarten, first, second, fourth, and sixth in my career. So I've had kind of a view of what comes next and what they need to go to the next level. And then having raised two sons myself, third grade's crucial.
Yes, ma'am.
It is very crucial. And usually, even if a child is delayed, if they get caught up by third grade, they all kind of, hover together in the ranks. But if one's not reading by that time adequately.
And they say, learn to read by third grade and then read to learn afterwards. And I think it's like 4 times, if you can't read by fourth grade, you're 4 times as likely not to graduate or to end up, like I said, in prison. And to me, I always break down issues and want people to think of things in terms of liberty. And if you have a child in fourth grade, say 25 students in there, and you have a child that can't read to learn, and the teacher is spending all their time doing remedial work with that one child, you're extracting liberty from the 24 other kids.
Or behavior problems.
Yeah.
But we do it all the time.
Yeah, but that's, and I've seen, I think a lot of it is fear. A lot of fear was out there. People were, and just not quite sure how that's going to work. And there's always things, government doesn't get things right the first time. I mean, we've seen that. I mean, it takes, more, evaluation and feedback and changes. And so, but I think it's a step in the right direction. You're seeing some of these other states who, kept kids out of school, and they're, falling way behind. And at least, in Tennessee, we're taking some steps forward and trying to address this and get some accountability out there and help all students. That to me, that's the whole deal, is help all these students be productive and successful.
We started the downward spiral with No Child Left Behind, in my opinion, because at that point on, we were being punished if we kept a child back. And there were children that needed that additional year.
Yes, ma'am.
And I always called it a gift of time. Give your child that gift to catch up, and then they can
Well,
be
let me ask you this.
successful.
I call it No Child Gets Ahead, is what I call it now.
And basically, that's exactly what
Well,
happened.
what's y'all's
especially
thoughts?
saw it in first grade because if they could not move up, I mean, first grade was pivotal too because that's when we were learning to teach them to read at that point. Now I think they've moved it down to kindergarten
They have.
so much more, but it was
What's y'all's
just
thoughts
a
on
big thing.
corporal punishment, on paddling?
Well, we always had it for a couple of decades into when I was
Yes, ma'am.
a teacher.
Did you ever get paddled?
In first grade?
Did you really?
I sure did. I
Did it
got
do you
called
some
up
good?
to the front. No, it did not.
Oh, it didn't.
Because I wasn't bad. No,
Oh, really?
I didn't. I have a
No,
funny
I think
thing.
that it
Okay.
did do some good for some.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just I didn't spank my children very much at all. But I found different ways of managing. Teachers try lots of other things. I think I only paddled one. Right. I only paddled one time in my teaching career. And go
Well,
ahead.
before I know Brian's got to cut out. I wanted to give you some time.
Yeah, just before I have to head out, I just wanted to congratulate Middle Tennessee Christian. They're going to make
that is so great.
state championship.
In Oakland? Oakland's in your
Oakland.
district? Oh,
Oakland's
wow.
in
What
your
happened
district.
over there?
Man, that was not expected.
Yeah,
but
that was
they,
6-0.
Yeah, I think
What was it again?
56 to 0.
56-0.
I think it snowballed on Riverdale, and
You think there's some childhood trauma with Riverdale?
man, it was.
I
I know that Oakland wanted. I mean, there was some revenge factor over the loss that they took earlier this year, but I think it just kind of snowballed. Riverdale made some mistakes, and
I guess you're going to bring it up during General Assembly next year, aren't you?
I'm looking for 2 state championships in District
right.
48, and I'll have them up there if they.
Yeah.
My son was a co-captain of the state championship team in '98 when Oakland won, but they were not winners up until that time, and it was very unexpected. And they played Riverdale in the regular season. Riverdale beat them, and it was devastating. And I said to him, just hold on, you'll meet them again in the playoffs. They beat them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oakland did, and won the state championship.
And I do want to congratulate Riverdale on a great year. I mean, they
did.
They had a great year this year as well, and I know it didn't end like the way they wanted it to, and it kind of, like I said, snowballed on them. But they can hold their heads up high. They had a great season, and they got some great athletes on that team as well, and so. We're gonna have some good football here in Rutherford County for years to come.
Yeah, I know you're excited. It's in your district, Well, Brian, I appreciate the good job you did. We didn't get to talk about marijuana.
Well,
we'll do that another show.
I'll come back next time.
We'll find something we disagree on. We'll find something. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. All right.
Take
Thank
care.
you, man.
Thanks.
I think a lot of Brian. We've always had been able to communicate well, and I guess he's kind of a car guy. Be careful out there, man. But I think we've got a caller. Caller still on there? Caller, go ahead.
Hey, Mike Sparks.
Hey, man, sorry if you've been on hold so long, brother. Thanks for calling in. I know I gave you like a month notice, didn't I?
Yeah.
I'm teasing you. How's things going?
I was going to weigh in real quick. You were talking about Tim Birch. I went to high school with Tim.
Yeah, I knew y'all are buddies.
Yeah, he went to Bearden, class of 82. I was class of 84. And Tim used to pick me up and give me rides to football practice. His mom taught me geometry. I knew him at UT.
Yeah.
I've never known Tim to ever lie to me.
Yeah.
And if Tim says it happened, I believe Tim.
Well, I think it just echoes the state of the craziness we're in today,
Well, yeah, it is. And I think we need to, as a GOP party, I think we need to realize we may not always agree on everything, but we're better together than we are.
Amen. And we better stick together.
Apart.
What was it Ben Franklin said? We better hang together. We're all going to hang separately.
Yeah.
A lot of truth to that. Well, Austin, one thing you and I have talked about is growing the party, reaching more females, reaching minorities, and I always appreciate you. Well, one, you've got a heart for people. I mean, I've talked about this. You're a big tough guy, military guy, but you've got a heart of gold for the community. Wow, tell us why this matters to you so much.
Well, Mike, quite honestly, if we don't reach out and try and grow the party, be diverse, it's a big tent party. It's always been a big tent party, but
Yeah.
we're always painted in the light of, it's the rich white guys party.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's the big tent party that appeals to all people. I mean,
Yeah.
look at Josh Rosales, Francis Rosales,
Yes.
Tennessee. They're meeting down there at the headquarters on Saturday.
Yep.
Once a month, and he's growing that group, and
Yes.
they're going to be at well over 50 members by the end of the year.
Yeah, and yep.
Things that we need in the party, just
Yes.
like the Republican women, and one thing that the late Howard Wall always said to me, Mike, and just remember this, is don't ever get the Republican women mad at you.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I've learned that with my wife.
Never get them mad at you.
Yeah,
So,
I've learned
Austin's
that.
been really great about helping us get some publicity out about our event that we're having with Dr. Carol Swain on December 7th, and we really appreciate that. Thank you, Austin.
I will be there as soon as City Council is over.
Well,
So,
thank you.
Austin, how you like serving on the council?
I like serving on the council. I've enjoyed it. It's like anything else, Mike. Your first year, you're kind of like trying to figure things out and find a way. And, really enjoying it. It's been an interesting year. It's not been without some controversy at times, but I am enjoying it. I don't get the level of emails and hate mail, my wife does on the school board. But that's a whole nother.
Exactly. Yeah, they got a tough job, especially with this redistricting going on.
Yeah. But appreciate your show, and I'll leave you with one final thought.
Yes, sir.
Riverdale still leads the all-time series on Oak.
Yeah. And you know what we say in the South,
I'm
bless
not
your
sure
heart.
about that.
That's tough, man. That's tough. Well, I appreciate all you do, Austin. You do have a heart for people, and that's what I appreciate about you and your wife, Claire. I went to the school board meeting the other day, and that's what I was literally saying to myself, bless their hearts, man, having to deal with redistricting on those maps, and it's just you can't make people happy. And I know they want to.
At least this time they hired an outside consultant, to look at it in as fair and unbiased as manner as possible. Because let's face it, in the past, you had local people here looking at it, and local people are going to say, okay, well, what's best necessarily for me or my school or my group of friends or parents. And that could have happened in the past. I think this time they looked at it as objectively as they could. And you can't make everybody happy, that's for sure.
No, you can't.
I think the biggest thing coming out of this is that, as a Rutherford County, as fast as we are growing, we've got to find land and we've got to build schools. And we got to look at any and everything creative on capacity at these schools.
Yes.
So.
What wasn't it? We're number 12 in the nation, and for being the fastest in growing area.
It's
the
right
fast
up
growing
there.
city.
Yeah.
12 fastest. Unfortunately, that speed. They were building a school a year for literally about a 10-year period of time, but that slowed, but the growth kept coming during COVID, and has even accelerated. Tennessee's a great deal if you're living in Illinois, New Jersey, California.
Yeah.
So they're coming, and we've got to find some ways to solve it.
Michael Patrick Leahy spoke to us the other night at Republican Women, and he said, without a doubt, Tennessee was the best state in the 50 as far as how it's run, its fiscal responsibilities, and how they've managed it fiscally, and it is a calling card politically and fiscally for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, that old adage, where California goes, so goes nation. What's worrisome for me is where we're going to be in 5 years. I mean, when our own kids can't afford to live in our own community, and I've got a new grandbaby, Grace, and every time I hold her, I'm thinking, what's the future going to be for this young lady? Hey, Austin, can you get Tim to pop in sometime on the show and you come up?
Who, Tim Rudd?
Tim Burchett.
Oh, Tim Burchett?
Yeah.
I'd probably get Tim to do that one time.
And see if we get Speaker McCarthy to call in. Get a big fight going on the radio.
Well, I've still got my plates from Afghanistan, my body armor plates, so I'll loan them to Tim next time.
Yeah, he really. I just got so tickled with that, and he seems like not just a good guy, but just a great guy.
He's a good guy. Hey, Mike, I'm going to run in here to Costco and keep this Rutherford County economy alive.
Thank you, brother. Take care, man. We'll see you.
Bye, Austin.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you guys.
Jeremy, how you been doing?
I'm good, Mike.
Our
How are you
faithful intern. Did I see you at church today?
You didn't see me, but I was there.
Oh, were you?
So,
Okay,
yeah.
incognito.
Yeah.
You know, our pastor, Brother Hazard, Jeremy plays the drums and sings. You still sing in the choir, right?
Not as much as I used to, unfortunately.
You've been working a bunch.
Yeah, I've been pretty busy this semester as well.
Well, we were talking about education and young people. Do you watch TV? Do you watch the news? Well, you're probably a little different.
Well,
a little bit more mature. I mean, I would think a little bit more mature than the students that's in my class. How old are you? You're what?
25.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're like average 22.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't believe they don't even watch television. Have you heard about this SpongeBob SquarePants news? I mean, seriously. People look at me like that look. See that look he just gave me? Like, what? No, I couldn't believe it. All the
that
students.
is,
like that too.
Mike,
They were all
and that
laughing.
is where there is a generational divide in Gen Z.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was telling the committee this week, I said, folks, it's a different world. We got to reach these young people. I said, we got to reach them with the TikTok. Whether we like TikTok or not, it's there. It ain't going away. We got to reach them Facebook, reach them Instagram. We got to reach them where they're at. I mean, like y'all growing the party by 28%. You know, that's commendable. But how do we utilize digital media to reach
more
these young people?
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, because you know their attention span. I mean, this is proven. It's now. Well, I think it's pretty much all of us. It's like shorter than a goldfish now.
Oh,
have you heard that?
Oh, I believe it. Now, I teach Bible school and do all that.
Oh, do you?
It's with little people and such, but even working with older ones, you got to move it. You got to move it.
Where do you teach kids at?
Well, I'm a member at East Main Church of Christ. Remember?
Oh yeah,
Remember
'cause
Brother
Pettis-
DeBerry?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Pettis had us over there. Man, what an awesome sermon with John. One thing about John DeBerry that he quotes, and I think it's really a Dr. King quote. He says, "We're in the same boat now. We may have come on different ships, but we're now in the same boat." Like Austin just said, you know, we're in this community where people got to work together. And really, even with Democrats, I mean, because some of these issues like drug addiction, healing, some of these areas. Like I was with TDOT Commissioner Butch Ely last week, and roads are a big issue. We've got a huge investment of $3 billion and a lot of improvements. And we got talking after. I said, man, I just see so much brokenness. He said, well, the thing about roads, it's not really a political issue. Well, we get tripped up on funding or maybe mass transit, but I just see, do y'all see it or is it just me?
No.
Infrastructure's seriously in need.
Yeah. Well, not just that. I mean, as far as folks working together.
Oh yeah, it is very much. I recently attended 2 of the county commission meetings.
Yes,
it was
ma'am.
quite interesting.
Yeah.
And people wanting to work and looking and just try not
Was
to
that
look
the
at
one
the
that
ulterior.
2 people almost got in a big fight? Was that one of the meetings?
No, I don't. No, not the
That was
one.
another one. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. There wasn't a big fight.
Yeah.
But it was just. It's just interesting. In that people working together.
Yeah, people have. I mean, there's no doubt. I named a bridge after my opponent. I don't know if you ever knew Kent Coleman. Kent he's deceased now, but Kent was a statesman. I mean, he treated me good and treated others good. And I know a lot of people look at me like I'm crazy. Like, why in the world would you name a bridge after your opponent? My understanding, he was the longest survivor of cystic fibrosis. But he treated me good. I think we've got a caller. Caller, go ahead. Hey, caller.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, go ahead.
Hey, you told me to call in.
Yeah. How's your event today?
It was pretty good. Mark from Hope came out. He spoke. The other families came out and spoke. And what today was World Remembrance Day for crash victims. And we had several people from Metro that came out that were part of the crash force task force.
Well, I tried. I was
investigate.
Yeah, I was telling Tony Campbell to go up there. One thing people don't realize is like with tow trucks, he's a tow truck driver. Man, they put their life on the line, and a lot of times we don't think about those guys being on the side of the interstate and how dangerous it is. We all had 1,000 flags, Chuck, that went out.
Yeah, we planted 1,000 flags on the north side of the Capitol on the hill, but we walked from the historic courthouse to the Capitol. But as we were walking, Metro was providing traffic assistance. They were blocking traffic, and some guy coming down MLK, he thought it was a tour bus stop. He ran around the tour bus into oncoming traffic and almost hit a female officer.
Wow.
I mean, and I was 6 feet from that. I was like, holy crap.
That just goes to show the seriousness. I mean, one thing that you've done, Chuck, is bring so much awareness to people just slowing down, look twice, stay off your phone. And I'll be honest with you, I've been guilty sometimes being on my phone. My wife bought me a little holder so I can set it up on below the mirror and be able to, communicate that way with my phone system in the car. Did Mark speak? Mark Lewis?
Yep, Mark Lewis spoke, and he read a little prayer, and he did a prayer, and we had a moment of silence, and I felt like he did a good job, and felt like everybody that was there, that there's 3 other families that do that with me, and we all spoke. The latest person to join us, her lady, her daughter got hit on Highway 100 out in Bellevue.
Oh, that's on the bicycle?
On the side road. Yeah, but she was walking on a bicycle, but she got hit. And, and was killed. And
well, I'll see some of these videos of these guys drag racing, and you'll see them do them donuts, and man, it's just they're always just hitting somebody with the court. People just stand out there and knock them down, and fortunately they get back up. But I appreciate you bringing awareness. Let me ask you. Let's give a plug out to the Sheriff's Academy. I know you went through it. I went through it last year for the second time with my intern. Seemed like you enjoyed it when I come over there to meet with y'all at graduation.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I recommend anybody that's wanting to get into politics or wants to understand how the police work and what goes on in their thinking, do that. It was a lot of things, it was misconceptions I had. I felt like I knew a lot of stuff, cleared some things up with me personally. They do, active shooter thing, yes. And, I got shot basically, and, because I failed it.
Yeah.
I did the wrong thing. And it's real easy to make that wrong decision, and it's real easy to come back and armchair quarterback.
Amen.
And say, well, the officer should have done this, officer should have done that. And sometimes you can do that, but most of the time they're only given a second to make a decision.
Yep.
And, it's their life or your life, kind of thing. And
when do they start their new class up? Do you know?
I think he said it was going to start back up around February.
February?
I don't think they've made an announcement yet.
Yeah, I can't remember the sergeant's name. Who is the guy that coordinates that?
Gary, I can't think of his last name at the moment.
Nice fella. And it's real. You ladies need to go through that. Have y'all been through the Sheriff's Academy?
No, and they had some people like Leadership Rutherford, is that right?
Mm-hmm. They probably went through it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they had some of those at the county commission meeting.
I taught
and
with
that was
a lot
easy.
of people that had gone through it.
I mean, I enjoyed it. What Chuck's talking about, it was I guess it was what we call it de-escalation, and man, I'll tell you, it's like a real life scenario.
Wow.
And and I was thinking of Sally Walls, who was our former police commissioner. I thought, well, what would Sally do? And Sally was a big smoker, and in my mock time, I was like talking to this guy who's going through a divorce and his wife leaving him, and he's having a meltdown. I'm like, hey, you want a cigarette? And he was, I don't smoke. And I had no other plan after that. And it ended up like working out. But I'm going to tell you, it's a real life stuff to see what these guys have to go through. Well, Chuck, thanks for calling in. Thanks for your efforts of what you've been doing out there. Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you, brother. Take care.
All right. All right.
I didn't know if Marty was going to call in or not. Is he on? Hey, Marty, we got a few more minutes. Go ahead, brother.
Hey, Mike. I was really enjoying your show, and I have to agree with, I don't know which one of the ladies was.
Got paddled in the first grade?
Tennessee.
Go ahead.
Tennessee is so physically responsible. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, we have proper growth. We have controlled growth. We have beautiful homes. The market is as strong as it's ever been in Tennessee. She's right. She was right on the money.
Yes. Now I get y'all mixed up. Marsha, and there's Marsha and Marcy. Marcy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Look what they text me. She says pronounced Marsha.
Oh, Yeah, that's right.
I have to do that all the time.
Yes. Okay. Well, Marty, how you been getting around? I know you get a few more steps you're taking, right?
Yeah. I'm walking a little bit. I can do up to 70 steps. I have to sit about 3 times, but I can do 70 steps.
All right. Well, thank you, Marty, for calling in. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brian Terry. Thank you, Jackson Smith, our producer. Folks, we'll talk with you next week for more Rutherford Magazine Show. Thank you.